Obstacles to efficient reading. First is nervousness of children. Some children feel nervous when they are asked to read in the class. They find difficult to face the class. The teacher should divide the class into small groups. The student who feels nervous while facing the class should be encouraged to read before this group. So in the small group, the student has to read there, not before the whole class. When they acquire confidence in reading before this small group, they will be able to face the class. So they will be able to face the class when they have to read in front of small groups first and then later on the larger groups. And you can also tell the student to sit and read instead of stand and read, because the child will feel less nervous while sitting and reading. So to start the child for reading, you can just tell him to sit and read for the small group, and later on then he can stand and read. Next is grindstone reading. What is grindstone reading? The main characteristics of this type of reading are dullness, lack of intonation, and this shows that the pupil is not interested in the reading. Okay, so grindstone reading is what? The dullness, lack of intonation is there, lack of you can say tuning or pitch variation or voice variation is very less, and this shows that the pupil is not at all interested in reading. He finds reading very boring. This is one of the obstacles. The first obstacle was nervousness while reading. The second is grindstone reading. Third is mispronunciation. It may be due to the defective speech training. Okay, the training which was given to the students when they were in the primary classes, that is why there is some defect in that teaching, maybe, or training. So the child does not pronounce properly because the teacher only makes mistakes in pronunciation. So if the teacher makes mistakes in pronunciation, the students will also do that. So it may be due to the defective speech training at the early stages, or carelessness in reading, or maybe the student has not heard properly what the teacher is saying or how the teacher is pronouncing a word. So that is why, because of that carelessness, the child is not able to pronounce the word properly. It is necessary that difficult words are thoroughly drilled to the pupil. Drilled over here means practiced, and the teacher should repeat it again and again, the proper pronunciation for the students, and the student can read after the teacher. Next is pointing with the finger. It may be due to the poor beginning methods or difficult material. The pupil should be made to understand that pointing with the finger retards his or her speed. Some of the children, they don't know that when they point with the finger, that time their speed becomes more less. They think that it will become more, but the speed of reading becomes less when you point the finger towards the material to be read. So the students should be told not to point the finger, and they also should be told that this retards the speed of reading. This is not a good habit of pointing with the finger. Inability to break up the sentences into proper phrases. The students are not able to break the sentences. They are not able to take proper pause where they have to take pause. Okay, and they just stop after every word when they are reading. There is no proper rhythm while reading. So inability to break up the sentences is another obstacle while they are reading. The pupil may not be able to break up the sentences into proper phrase while reading due to his inability to recognize the thought units, because he is not understanding when he is reading. He is reading only loudly because the teacher has told him to read loudly, but he is not understanding what he is reading. If he understands and reads, then he will take the correct pauses. The pupil should give attention to the punctuation marks also. Wherever comma is there, wherever full stop is there, he should be told that he has to take a pause when there is a full stop or a comma. So inability to break up the sentences into proper phrases is also an obstacle to efficient reading. Next is stammering. What is stammering? Stammering can be physiological as well as psychological. Okay, stammering means again and again the student is not able to speak the word properly, or he is repeating it. He is not able to speak the word properly. Okay, in the former case, which is physiological, means physiological, the child should be advised to consult a doctor. In the latter case, the child should be asked to do some of the breathing exercises. If confidence can be developed in the child, it will cure the stammering psychologically. So, confidence has to be developed in the child to reduce or cure the stammering. Stammering is like, if I say performer. So this is a sort of stammering, which I'm not able to speak the word properly, and I'm just stopping while speaking. So I cannot pronounce the word properly. That is the stammering while reading. Huskiness. What is huskiness? Huskiness of tone is used, is caused partly by overbreathing, okay, which leaves a surplus of breath not converted into the tone. Such pupils can be helped by training them to keep correct pitch of tone while reading. The pupil should not try to pitch his voice very high. A conversational tone is the best. The child should not be told to use only high pitch while reading. He should use a conversational tone while reading, so that he can know how to breathe properly while reading, and where he can breathe. Wherever there is a pause or a comma, there he can take a breath. Okay, he should not stop his breath while reading, and this will convert into huskiness if he is not properly breathing. The huskiness of tone is caused partly by over breathing. When he is over breathing like this, or which leaves a surplus of breath not converted into tone, and he is not able to convert his breath into tone. When you are speaking, you are taking out the air from your mouth, so the child is not able to convert that breath into tone or sound. Okay, so that is called huskiness. That is another obstacle while reading. Problem of eye movement or mechanics of reading. The eyes of the children, how they have to move, okay, that has to be taught by the teacher in the early stages. So this is another obstacle of efficient reading. If the pupils are not properly guided, they inculcate in themselves wrong habit of reading letter to letter and word to word. Okay, some pupils form the bad habit of putting the finger under each letter and word while reading. So we have already discussed that this is not a good habit of putting the finger. The teacher can help them by telling them the correct ways of eye movements. Okay, that they have to capture the word. The eye has to capture the whole word, not letter by letter, each word. Okay, so like this word is there, inculcate. The eye is catching the whole word, that what it is, and recognizing it. It is not catching I, in, see differently. Okay, so letter by letter, the child does not have to read, but he has to read the whole sentence in a combined way by combining the words, and the eye movement has to be proper. The problem of words. When a child starts reading English, he is confronted with a variety of new words. The child should not mix them with the words of his mother tongue. So this will only cure the problem of words, will only be solved when there is a lot of practice, and the student is also told about the meaning of the difficult words or the new words which he is reading. So the child has to practice the reading, and the teacher has to act as a role model for starting the pronunciation, or telling the students how to pronounce the new words. When a child starts reading English, he is confronted with a variety of new words. The child should not mix them with the words of his mother tongue. Next is the problem of structure. The structure of English is different from Hindi and Punjabi. The entirely different structure of English language is unknown to the child, and naturally it becomes a problem for him. Okay, so this structure of English, where the verb is there, where the object is there placed, or subject of the sentence is placed, that is different from Hindi. Okay, so it becomes difficult for the child to capture the structure in the beginning, and the teacher over here has to play again the role of practicing again and again, repeating and performing the drill in the class means the repetition, and the students have to speak after her. So the entirely different structure of English language is unknown to the child, and naturally it becomes a problem for the children. Problem of script. A very difficult problem which the learner of English faces is that of script. Roman script is entirely different from the Gurumukhi or the Devanagari. Gurumukhi is the Punjabi script and Devanagari, the Hindi one which we are using, or the Persian script. Okay, besides English alphabet has more than one form of letters. That is capital letters and small letters. So English alphabet has capital letters and the small letters. And also the script is the Roman script, which is very much different from the Gurumukhi or Devanagari or the Persian script. So this is another problem for the students. Interference from the mother tongue. Many students carry with them the faults of wrong eye movements, lip movements, too many pauses they use while reading. So these are the problems because of the interference from the mother tongue. Because they only keep on speaking mother tongue and they do not practice the speaking of English language.